What if the curiosity that makes you human is the very thing that marks you as prey? Think about the last time you saw something that didn't belong. A lone shoe on the side of a highway, a locked door in an abandoned house, or a weathered backpack sitting perfectly still in a clearing where the birds have stopped singing. Your instinct tells you to walk away, but your hand is already reaching out. What if the moment you unzip that bag, you aren't just looking at its contents? You're letting something out that has been waiting for a witness. Welcome to Shadowland, a place where darkness breathes and silence speaks. Tonight, we venture into the suffocating depths of the Pacific Northwest forests to follow the account of a hiker who found a discarded bag and realized too late that some things are buried for a reason. Stay until the end. If you want to know what started appearing in his own house the morning after he brought that bag home. It was late October, and the woods were a tapestry of dying reds and browns. I was miles off the main trail, chasing the kind of suburban isolation that helps a man forget the noise of the city. The air was crisp, smelling of pine and damp earth. But as I crossed a dry creek bed, the atmosphere shifted. The wind died down. The woods became a vacuum of sound. That's when I saw it. A heavy, military-grade rucksack snagged on a rusted fence line. It looked like it had been there for decades, yet the fabric wasn't faded. I felt a brief sense of safety, thinking I'd found a lost geocache or maybe some abandoned gear I could salvage. I pulled it free, the weight of it surprising me. It felt dense. I sat on a fallen log and pulled the zipper. It didn't snag. It slid open with a wet, mechanical hiss. Inside, wrapped in yellowed American newspapers from the 1970s, was a heavy iron box and a hand-drawn map of my own neighborhood. My heart did a slow, sickening roll. Why was a map of a modern Ohio suburb buried in a 50-year-old bag in the middle of the wilderness? The why me factor began to claw at my throat. I opened the iron box. Inside were dozens of Polaroid photos. They weren't of people, they were photos of bedroom windows. My bedroom window was on top. I dropped the box, the photos spilling onto the dirt like dead leaves. My instincts screamed at me to run, but then I noticed the figure in the background of the photos. It was tall, impossibly tall, with limbs that looked like stuttering frame rate glitched shadows. It didn't have a face, just a smooth, pale surface that seemed to be watching the camera. I looked up from the photos and the woods weren't empty anymore. 30 yards away, standing behind a thick Douglas fir, I saw the same uncanny shape. It was moving toward me, but its feet weren't touching the ground. It moved with a mechanical, rhythmic twitch. I didn't stop to gather the photos. I sprinted, I ran until my lungs burned like hot coals. The sound of snapping branches echoing behind me, always exactly 3 paces back. I made it to my truck and tore down the gravel road, not stopping until I was back in the artificial glow of the suburbs. I felt safe. change. But when I looked at my nightstand, my heart stopped. There, sitting perfectly centered on the wood, was one of the Polaroids from the bag. It was a photo of me, taken from inside my own closet 3 seconds ago. I looked at the closet door. It was cracked open just an inch. From the darkness inside, I heard a wet, clicking sound, followed by a whisper in a voice that sounded exactly like my own. You forgot to zip the bag. If you want to survive the next night in Shadowland, make sure to subscribe and leave a light on in the comments. It helps us find you in the dark. Sleep well, if you're sure you didn't bring something home with you today.